It's that time. We're about to kick off an episode of Consulting Unfiltered. We're here to share the real talk on career growth in finance and consulting. If you want to be a CFO, you want to get to partner at a firm, learn from true stories on how to achieve these goals. We will not hold back on anything. Get ready to laugh, learn, and level up your game. Okay, will technology replace the need for consultants, or will it enhance their value? Join us as we discuss the potential future roles of consultants in a tech-driven world. Welcome to Consulting Unfiltered, Adventures in Leadership. Today, we're looking ahead to the future of consulting. From digital transformation to AI and data analytics, we are going to explore the latest trends and innovations shaping the industry. How can consultants stay ahead of the curve? What challenges do they face when integrating with new technologies that are released like every day? So we're going to go ahead and dive in here. Kat, thanks for joining us again.
Absolutely.
And what kind of just to kick things off a little bit, one of my favorite discussions is to talk a little bit around, when we're talking about technology around consulting, what would those kinds of things be? Where are consultants facing, the technology infiltration, I guess?
Yeah. So, definitely just in all of the applications that are out there that connect systems together, right? So, and understanding how those apps connect differently, right? Which connector is best for them. Sometimes they might have 5 different systems and they're using 10 different apps to connect, so it can get pretty challenging and murky. Sometimes those systems have to be set up differently to play nice. So having them all into one is complicated. So that's probably like one of the biggest challenges. The other thing that I've seen a lot more recently is companies wanting information now, right? Faster. You're not relying on a month-end close package to be sent to you 15th of the following month so you can figure out how you did. You really want that information now so you can make decisions quicker.
So more shorter term analytics and stuff like that. And when we hear all these terms, right? So we hear AI, and when we're talking about AI, what does that mean for in the consulting space? Like how are we seeing, because I see, in the marketing space, of course, I see that people are using AI to generate content, right? You go in there, you say, write me a blog about, we had Rob, he went in and he took one of our, who's our CMO, he took one of our phrases that we use here at Fourlane, and he put it into ChatGPT and he said, make a spoof, song, take the words of the song to 99 Problems and use our words, right? He put in a couple blurbs of our words that we use internally. He turned it into like this fantastic epic. So for marketing, it makes sense. But when it comes to AI in consulting or in particularly in accounting, how is that kind of working with us right now?
Yeah, so I think the data analytics piece is a big part of it, right? Dashboard reporting, wanting to compare how your business is doing to other businesses that are within the same industry, right? That's something that's really big and has to do with all the data sharing and data mining going on. And then from there, one thing that I use is just in trying to generate words to go with the reporting, right? So I use Grammarly all the time. I freaking love that app. They have started incorporating more AI into it. So instead of just correcting, right, your grammar in there, they will make suggestions about how to make it more impactful or whatever. So that helps just for me to type, like I can just brain dump, right? And then it will go in and I could just click, click, click. Okay, that sounds way better. And then send. I don't have to, really spend a lot of time slowly writing everything I need to say.
Yeah, so it saves time. So, that's what's really interesting about that, right, too, is accountants were kind of not known to as being the best communicators, and especially technology accountants, because we kind of we can be very creative, and so we think everybody follows our logic in our process, and sometimes they don't. Actually, a lot of times they don't. So it in a way it can bridge the gap between. It's almost like, you know, one of my sisters says she has a job, and her job, she is a engineer, right? But then she is actually in sales, and so what she does is she helps kind of bridge the gap between the sales, right, the customer experience, and the engineer. She's like the go-between, who's a translator. So maybe they're after her job in this, but it helps to translate and give a better output. So in a way, it's still content generation is how it's beneficial.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. And then I know for me, what was your first? I know that this might be too personal. I don't know. What was your first time when you saw AI and you were like, "Oh, that's cool"? What was the first like out thing that you experienced?
Definitely creepy. I mean, does that count? Like, I mean, I've been creeped out by some parts of it when you're like talking to somebody, like Doug and I were just randomly talking about Starburst one day, and then all of a sudden I'm getting all these ads for Starburst. Like, what?
Everywhere.
Everywhere. Facebook, Google. I'm like, what is happening? I don't like Starburst that much. It was just a conversation.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, I think that, you know, it's one of those things where, you know, I've listened to a lot of other podcasts about it, right? To just try to understand more, because I know there's a lot of fear around it. Like, it's going to take my job. And, you know, I think it's a tool. And I think just like with any system, it garbage in, garbage out, right? So you still have to have the good ideas. You still have to have, you know, people putting good information into it so that it gives you good responses back. So, you know, when it comes to like that whole thing you were talking about with Rob, right? Where you took a song and if we had verbiage or sentences or whatever that we were saying that were garbage, well, it would have come out with a garbage, like, you know, something that didn't represent us at all. So you still have to be, you know, authentic in what you put into it, I guess. Mm-hmm. So you get those good responses back. Mm-hmm. And it mm-hmm. still has a way to go. Like even in the ways that I use it to help with writing, sometimes I'm like, that is not a sentence that anyone would have ever said ever, you know? But thanks for the suggestion, but I'm gonna go ahead and decline that one, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And for us internally, I mean, we use Gong, right? Mm-hmm. We use Gong to record our conversations with customers, and that helps with transcribing. That helps with the CYA, right? Covering our booties to make sure that when clients say you said that, and we're like, man, that's not what we said.
That's not what we said.
It helps.
Where we didn't say it 22 minutes into this call.
No. Yes. And then so it helps with those kinds of things, but then we use one of the first kind of times internally where we really got to start to utilize it was it would take those conversations and summarize it. It would take those conversations and document for us those next steps. So it's ended up saving us a lot of time internally where we would have to go back through our notes and we would have to like, okay, what did I tell them I was going to do? And sometimes we would miss it because it's, human error. So it does help with interacting. It makes us more complete consultants, almost like we have a little assistant sitting with us and doing that.
Right.
But in my fear is though when you're talking about garbage in and garbage out, right, type of things. I mean, you have QuickBooks in there, and they're building an AI assistant, and I'm assuming using all of the millions of users of QuickBooks to build up what they do, but I mean, the reason why we all have jobs is because people don't do things consistently in QuickBooks, right?
Right. That's what I'm talking about, right? If your books are being behind the scenes compared to the books of other people that are in your industry, but their books are a mess, right? Then you're comparing your clean house to a messy house, and then getting this like, oh, well, typically this is how it works. And it's like, well, no, that's a hoarder's house. Like, I don't understand why I would want my house to look like that. So So I think that that's part of it. It's kind of funny because you mentioned gong, and honestly, that is probably the one time I wasn't creeped out at first, because we've been using that for a while, and we build proposals, and so I like have my high level notes, and I went back and I was like, what is supposed to be included in this proposal? And it literally just spit back everything that needed to be in there. So it's really helpful in that scenario too, because I'm still taking my notes over here. I'm still going off of memory. I'm still going off of like the scoping documentation that we do on the front end and all that. But it's helpful to just have that like extra protection and not have to go back and listen to a call. The other thing I love it for is because you can listen to calls at 2.5 times. And if you can get around everybody sounding like a chipmunk, then it's super helpful to speed up, because I can think a lot faster than I can hear. So yeah. Or hear a lot faster than I can think. I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. So for training and purposes, and that is also one of the things that I like too, is that you can go back and say, why did this person use class tracking as an example, right? Because class tracking is one of those things that when you set up an accounting system that can be used for, like so many different reasons, and you can search into a specific customer and it'll give you an output. So it's just, it's data analytics in that way, but it's literally not just number data analytics, it's word analytics, right? So, which is incredibly helpful. So how do you think, the digital transformation is influencing consulting practices? Have you seen, we were mentioning some for us, but have you heard about any in other places?
Sure. So where I've seen that most, and even more recently, right? Like I've been doing this consulting business job thing, right, for like 13 years. So it used to be that everybody had huge filing cabinets that they stored all of their documents and paperwork in, right? So being able to take a picture of a receipt, upload it, have an OCR like read that information and basically prompt you on what transaction you should enter is a huge time saver, and helps not only with the person that's having to do that task, right, but also the person that's having to give that information, so they're not having to like hang on to a receipt for a month and then put it in, Joe's inbox so he can then go and deal with it a month later. So I think that's been a huge help, and also just with sharing that information. So if I'm looking in QuickBooks and I see a report, I'm like, oh, this doesn't look right? Like this expense jumped up way over what it should have been from compared to last month. I can dig into the details. I can click all the way through, can click on that exact line that looks amiss and pull up the transaction and be like, this is totally miscoded. It needs to be fixed. And I can find that way faster than saying, hey, Joe, can you look up and send me the bill for this? So that I think is just saving folks a lot of time, which I think is then why it's, making people want that information a lot faster, right? Because they start getting used to it,
Accessibility is a big part of it as well. So how do you, or maybe even talking more broadly, how do we at Fourlane, right, how do we stay ahead of the trends? How do we hear, I saw something, I don't know what group it was in, but I think it was a Facebook group that I'm part of. It's an entrepreneurial one. And the guy was like, I just literally opened up GitHub and asked it to program a software, and my software is now on WooCommerce and I am selling it, right? Like it was like boom, 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 all in an afternoon, right? So, but how can we stay ahead of the trends and know like what is being created? What are ways to do that?
Yeah, so I learn a lot from our clients, right? Like we were talking about, I think in another episode, how we'll hear the same thing. Like there was an app, and it's very specific. It's used to track school tuitions. And I had somebody mention the name of that app once, and then I had another person like 2 days later say the same thing, and I never heard it before. And I was like, did I have a consult with the same person 2 times? Like I literally was very confused. But I think like knowing, right? So when I hear that, now I'm like, okay, well, what is this? Like I'm going to go look into it. I'm going to see what it does. Whenever somebody says, oh, well, I have this thing that does these, whatever, XYZ. I'm like, okay, show me. I want to see a live demo. I don't want to see a recorded demo. I don't want to see screenshots, right? I want to really get in, and I want access to like a testing environment if possible, so I can kick the tires myself. We all try to break things, right? That's, I think, super important across the board whenever we have somebody that says, oh, I just told ChatGPT to write a program for me. It's like, and now I'm selling it. Like, ooh, okay. Did you test it, or you're just going with it, right?
I mean, that is going to be part of the future state 2 problem, right? I read an article about that the other day too, that, you know, at some point there's going to have to be a reset of, you know, AI data where humans are continuing to produce and feed inputs. Otherwise, the AI, there will be degradation if it's just AI relying on itself forever. So there's going to have to be human input, human creativity, human like resetting of the data, right? Mm-hmm. And I feel like there's also going to have to be somebody in there going like, yeah, this data doesn't apply. Yeah, this data doesn't apply.
Right.
Yeah. No, let's like, so like a whole bunch of trash men, basically. Like, no.
Yeah, like it testing itself. I guess that's the part that's a little scary, right?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
I don't really know about that part. I think that, you know, just like when we're building an integration, we still like to have some sort of user interface where somebody's saying like, yep, that looks good, bring it across, before we're just like, oh, we're just going to plow all this in, right? So.
Mm-hmm. And that is something, because we here at Fourlane, right, we build applications for people. So we understand how the technology works. And of course, with any software, whether it's an AI software or it's a CRM software or it's a QuickBooks software, right, an accounting software, it is a human being who is, well, I guess now if AI is writing the code, but somebody is requesting the output, right? So somebody is generating either the prompt or, and of course, you know, Google has gotten very good about their prompts and kind of being more encompassing and capturing their prompts, but like not all softwares have gotten there yet. So, so how can we stay ahead of the curve? So other ways, I guess we can stay, you know, we do have a lot of people reach out to us directly as consultants, right? So a lot of ISVs, independent software vendors, that connect to QuickBooks, they'll reach out to us. I mean, I probably get the emails 97 times a day about,
right.
Hey, I have this solution that you should consider introducing to your audience. So how do we kind of, how do you think it's good? Because I probably yesterday got like 4 data analytics companies that wrote to me and said, you need to use our product and promote it to your customer base. So how do we kind of weed through, since there's all of these options now?
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, what we do with clients, right, is we kind of do a little bit of like use case, right? What do you need? Right? Because we also don't want them paying for a mansion if they only need, you know, a 1-bedroom ranch or whatever, right? So we kind of go through that use case, right, with them, like what exactly do you need it to do? How many users do you need? What needs to be involved, et cetera. And then we go and find the right tool for them. Now, sometimes we'll say, you know, this tool also wasn't on your list, but it has this other really cool feature and it's, you know, only $5 more a month or whatever. That is something that I think would be useful to you as like a stretch goal, and you wouldn't have to switch. So we're also looking at like what tools are going to work for them for the next 3 to 5 years, right? So we're trying to look out, but obviously technology is moving super fast and has been for some time. So sometimes that can get a little bit tricky. You want to make sure that you're, you know, looking at apps that are going to be around for the long haul, because they do get bought out. It's kind of incestuous, honestly. How many times they get traded around. But so, I mean, that's something you have to look at too. And, you know, hopefully find the right fit for them. We give our opinion, but ultimately they have to make the choice, right? Mm-hmm. So that's something, you know, I think it's a good process to go through. When you're trying to weed out the ones that are, you know, not there. The garbage collector should have picked up, I think.
So the the consulting space a little bit maybe, and for us this is not a change, right? We have for us as a company, this has always been our thing, right? Clients come to us and we are looking to improve their energy, right? So they're not wanting to throw their computer against the wall. We're looking to improve their time so that they can like leave the office on at a reasonable time instead of having to stay like forever. So technology consulting is not a new thing for us, which is maybe why we aren't as affected as some firms out there who have been doing bookkeeping and pretty manual processes for years. So but that is a good way, right? Is you just have to start tinkering. You have to start clicking the button and seeing what happens and breaking and forming opinions around what technology is good and not. So I like that. So here's a big question for our audience today. Let us know what you think. Will technology replace the need for consultants, or will it enhance their value? Let us know what you think, and we will see you guys next time on Consulting Unfiltered. Thanks so much, Kat.
All right, thanks.
And that's a wrap on another amazing episode of Consulting Unfiltered. Don't miss out on all the candid chats and practical wisdom coming your way. Hit that subscribe button to stay connected and keep taking those steps forward in your career. We'll see you soon.